So there are a few things that we're pretty strong on. And again, let me emphasize, what is the most dangerous complication we face? What is the biggest, most frequent, most annoying, most deadly complication my patients face post-op? It's getting gastritis or an ulcer at the connection between the stomach and the bowel. You don't want it. Now, I'd like to preface that, before I talk about that in more detail, to say we have a lot to give you, a lot of positives. We hope to withdraw your risk of diabetes and high blood pressure, decrease your risk of breast cancer. We want to give you a more active lifestyle, more enjoyable lifestyle. We have a lot of positives, but it's not a one-way street. There's pluses and there's minuses. The biggest minus, let me tell you about, good morning, come in, is that you can get gastritis or an ulcer. You don't want gastritis or an ulcer. It can happen to you, you don't want it. Okay. One of the ways you can be protected from that terrible complication is to get some healthy bacteria into your gut, which competes with the bad bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. You want the good bacteria, which has now got a name, it's called probiotics. We like them. And the bad biotics, H. pylori. We don't like them. Okay. It is potentially life and death. Unfortunately, the surgery has complications, and gastritis and ulcers, if they occur, are devastating and dangerous, can take away the joy of life, take away the success of surgery. You need the probiotics. You got to eat yogurt, in my opinion. Now, here's the other reason it's good to come and see me. Why choose me as your surgeon? Well, presumably because I've done thousands, I'm technically good, which I think I'm technically good. But other more valuable thing is that right now there are 4,000 people wandering around the United States, Canada, England, and other places that have my cell phone number. And they call me. And some of them have had perforated ulcers. Some of them have bleeding ulcers. And when I talk to them on the phone, they weren't eating their yogurt. They stopped taking their vitamins. They weren't taking their fiber. They were drinking alcohol. They were smoking cigarettes. Okay? Now, what I would tell you is the reason it's good to listen to me is 4,000 people have taught me what to tell you. All those people who have gone before you are educating you on what to do. As unpleasant as eating a yogurt is every day, it's nothing compared to a bleeding ulcer. So you have to think about it that way. It's medicine, and if I told you had a heart transplant and you would lose your heart transplant if you didn't eat yogurt, my suspicion is you'd eat yogurt. You need to think about it in those terms, unfortunately. So I know that people don't like to hear this, and people don't like to hear when I say, don't drink alcohol, or don't smoke cigarettes, or don't drink soda pop. But I think yogurt is really critical for the one big dangerous complication we get. And remarkably, the other complications we get are very uncommon and very easy to manage. But this one, you absolutely do not want, and it can happen. And we recently was at a meeting where they said 20% of the Roux-en-Y patients are getting it. We don't see that, but you don't want it.
How would you know if you had it? Or if you were
Well, Gage did a great job. He was just saying, he said that when he took his vitamin at night, he got burning and indigestion. And that's the first sign that you've got something brewing. Anything at all, if you get indigestion, you should be calling me and fussing at me, saying, hey, your darn surgery's bugging me. This is that ulcer you were talking about. And a lot of our patients are just so nice and polite, they don't call. And they suffer kind of in silence. Or they're silent because they...
Okay, would one yogurt do it a day, or would you have that? I mean, in your opinion, what do you think?
Well, we think what we're trying to do is seed the gut with good bacteria. The lining of your gut is washed with acid and enzymes that are constantly washing away and killing the bacteria, and the bad bacteria are fighting to get a little foothold in there. And what you want to do is every day you want to seed in a little bit of the good bacteria and give them a shot to set up a place to live there as opposed to the bad bacteria. Around the world, research suggests that bad bacteria is associated with stomach cancer and ulcers, and you don't want it. And we can help now, the research I think is quite good, by putting in some good bacteria. So my bias is, as unpleasant as it is, you don't have to eat the whole thing. 1 spoonful is a good thing. And remember, you can ramp up later, but seed that lawn with new grass. Think about it that way. Just spread some good bacteria there is going to help protect you, because you don't need it right away. But what you want to do is have it for the rest of your life, because you don't ever want to be bothered by your MGB. You want it to only be fun and positive and good for you.
There's so many yogurts on the market. Does it matter what kind? Can it have fruits?
I think one of the critical things to realize is when yogurt came to America, people said, this is sour milk. I'm not eating this. And so all the big companies, they said, come here, yogurt. We'll fix you up. So they took them in, put makeup on, gave them sugar and all this stuff. And now we have TCBY. Right? You know what that stands for? This is not really yogurt. Okay? So we want the good bacteria. You want to see active cultures on the side. And when you take a spoonful of it, if it tastes like sour milk, that gives you a hint, in my opinion, that you made a good choice.
Sort of along the same lines, there's something called Yakult or something I've seen advertised, which is it's a small drink that is, I think it has probiotic
Well,
properties. So
right. There's different things from different countries. Kefir. Do we know what kefir is? Or yeah? So there are different kind of drinks from the Middle East where they have goat's milk that's soured, and there are different ways to get that bacteria. The key thing is, I think yogurt is pretty standard, and we recommend that. If you do other things for other bacteria, including tablets, now one company is Dannon is selling Activa. That's where it has the lactobacillus plus bifidobacteria. And so those other bacteria, I think we're going to learn more and more bacteria are actually good for us and good for our gut. Right now we're kind of focusing on the sour milk kind of yogurt, and if you take other things on top of that, it's good. But I would get, in my mind, if I were you, taking my advice, 11 years, almost 4,000 people, eat a little yogurt every day. Now, if you want to do more than that, I'm okay with that, but eat a little yogurt every day. The biggest risk after the surgery is an ulcer and gastritis. We can help protect you against that. Eat a little yogurt every day.
So even if it's active cultures, if it's fruit or anything else.
I don't care about that, right. That all I think is other, not
Just has to
pertinent.
say active cultures.
If you take a strawberry Dannon like I do, I use one lasts me 2 days. And I take half of it and I put it in the blender in the morning with bananas, some frozen strawberries, and my whey protein, and some ice. So that's how I get my whey protein shake down and my yogurt down. Of course, we make it, you can use plain yogurt too, you won't even taste it.
The thing is, a lot of people don't like it, and I think you need to, if you like it, then it's great. If you don't like it, you got to think of its medicine, keeping your heart transplant alive. If you don't do that, you're going to be potentially like one of my patients who calls, they're 3 years out, they're in a hospital in Raleigh, North Carolina with a bleeding ulcer. Hey, Dr. Rutledge, they had to operate because I had a perforated ulcer. Okay? You don't want to be there. Okay? And this surgery could do that to you. You don't want that. So we say, in return for a 100-pound weight loss or 150 or 200-pound weight loss, in return for lowering your cholesterol, lowering your blood pressure, lowering your triglycerides, lowering your C-reactive protein, protecting you from heart attack, potentially giving you an extra 10, an extra 15, extra potentially 20 years of life, eat some yogurt.
There is a yogurt I found. I love it. It's a whole milk yogurt, it tastes much different than fat-free or low-fat or low-cal yogurts. It's almost like eating ice cream, to be honest with you. And I get them plain, so there's no anything in it. I add a little stevia. Sometimes I just put fruit in it in the morning, and it's called Stonyfield. And it's
Yeah, Stonyfield's pretty famous. It's a good organic yogurt.